Hi, hi, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do another spincast reel video. And today we're going to look at the Johnson Century and Johnson Citation Model 100B. Now these reels were made anywhere from, I think they started them in the 50s and up to the 70s. So imagine these two are probably, these are the later models of Century and Citation. I'm guessing there's probably 60s, 70s. Did quite a few videos on different kinds of spincast reels, and I haven't done a Johnson yet, so I figured it's time to do one. So these reels are pretty iconic in the spincast market. These have a lot of fans, and they've been around a long time, and they're great reels. They're probably, I think these are the two best reels that Johnson ever made. Certainly way better than the later graphite ones they made. There's a couple that are really good, are Guide, Johnson Guide 155, 160. These are really good reels, but I think these Centuries and Citations are the best that they made, and one of the best spincast reels ever made. So these three Citation I got first, and looks really good from the outside, but when I got it, it was completely encrusted with salt. So this was used in salt water. I don't think it was used a whole lot. I think it was just used a few times and just left. And the salt ate away at the chrome, and the spool was just covered in salt. So I just soaked it in toilet bowl cleaner for a few hours, and it took all of it off. But the chrome is not coming back, but it still has lots of life in it. Might not look the prettiest, but it's a great reel. So Century and Citation are pretty much exactly the same reel. I think the gears are interchangeable. The only difference in these two reels are the size. The Citation is a much bigger reel, has a much bigger spool, holds a lot more line. Other than that, it is the same reel. So I'm going to put that one aside. So there's two Centuries that I have. Got these a couple days ago. When I got these were completely seized up. The handles would not turn one bit, and that's just a result of dry grease. So I have this one done already. So I'm just going to show you how to lubricate and service this other one here. So this one's in really good shape. Handles are still nice and white. A little red on the handle nut here, still in good tack. Sometimes they crack. Chrome is nice. Handle is really nice. Here's your drag. Numbers are still visible. Still has a nice green finish on it. It's in really good shape. It was just put away and just probably never touched for years. And the grease in it just hardened up and acts like a glue after a while. So to service this reel or any reel, all you need is some fishing reel grease. There really isn't a good substitute for it, so you should use that. You should not use Vaseline or like axle grease or bearing grease. It just hardens up over time. Large screwdriver, 3/8 socket for the handle nut. I think 10mm will fit too. Small Phillips screwdriver, or you can use a small flathead, and a brush, and some real oil. Let's just set that aside. So first thing I would do, take your handle off. Just loosen that with a socket. You can use pliers too if you don't have a socket handy. Put that aside. Handle comes off. There is no washer or anything there. Let's take off the spool. Just unscrew it. And here's where your big screwdriver comes in handy. Just take off this little nut right here. And your rotor comes off. Here's your pickup pin. And Johnson did a really good job with the chrome on these, and it's really durable and strong. You won't see any, there's no cuts or anything there where the line reels in. You have this little pin here, holds on the spool. Spool comes off. There's your 3 drag washers. Hard plastic, you don't really need to take them off unless your drag is not working at all. And if your drag is not, if you're not getting tight enough drag, you can just pull up on this right here. Put a flathead screwdriver and just tighten that or loosen it to adjust your drag. So we'll take off the panel, side panel now. This is 2 screws, 2 small Phillips head screws. This comes off, and just push this side panel through here. The button comes out, and your main gear can just sort of bring it out through the back, and you just get the right angle on it, and it will pop out. So like I said, when I got this reel, you could not turn this main gear in this housing here. The old grease was dried in there and it acted like a glue. So I've already cleaned this reel. I've took it all apart, soaked it, sprayed it in WD-40, soaked it, and then rinsed it off. Get rid of all the grease. I took some steel wool and cleaned this shaft and this shaft, and a Q-tip dipped in WD-40, clean this area right here. This is the main problem here. Like this bushing right here, I guess you can call it a bushing, but this handle plate, and where this shaft goes through, and where this shaft goes through right here, this is where the grease draws in, and it's really hard to turn. So you really have to take care of that. So I'll service it now. First thing I would do is take some real oil. Oil this shaft. And I'll put it back in. This is a bit tricky. Yeah, it's not simple, but a bit of struggle with it here. Oh, I was putting it upside down. Okay. So a little bit of oil there. This goes on. Now you can put your handle back on. Take this side plate, and the top part of it goes through the handle, which is sometimes a bit tricky to get it lined up. But here we go. I'll just set that aside. We'll take our main gear and just oil the back of it. A lot of people will put grease on here, but I find if you put oil on it, make it way smoother. If you put grease on it, it's just going to slow it down. And now we're going to grease the gears. So just using fishing oil grease and a small brush. So we're just going to take a little bit of grease here. We're not going to go crazy. Some people just pack the reel full of grease and it doesn't do anything. It only does anything on the teeth and it just gets spun off anyway. So you only want like a really light coating on there. That's plenty for there. Now we're going to put a little bit on this pinion gear here. You don't need a lot. It works itself in. And really that's plenty of grease. You don't need to go crazy with it. So we just set this back in place. like so. Take your 2 screws for your side plate, get them started. And I usually tighten, make sure they're both pretty much in there before you tighten one or the other. And don't go crazy tightening it. So that's put back together. Now we're going to add a little bit of oil right here on this shaft. Spool goes on next, so it just fits on like that. You put your pin back in. Just dropped it, I had to grab it. So here's your retaining pin back in place. And I'm just going to add a little bit right here. And put a little bit of oil on this pickup pin release. Push the button in, line up the D-shaped, put your nut back on. Tighten that. Now there's your handle. Handle is a D-shaped on your main gear shaft. There's a D-shaped on your handle, and just line it up. Put your lock nut back on. Take our socket. Make sure this is tight. So everything's back together. And here's your pickup pin coming out and going down. Just put the cover back on. Yeah, so this reel went from one that you physically could not turn to this. Just a little bit of work. Simple. This is one of the simplest reels you can get. Very few parts. Very well made. Nice gears. Nice materials. All metal. Here's your anti-reverse switch. So right now it's in the usual forward position where your anti-reverse is working. You can turn it off. So you can it gets rid of the clicker too. So you can, if you want a silent reel, you can do this, but you have no anti-reverse. And you can turn it the other way, which you can swap handles. You can put this handle on this side, but if you do that, this logo is going to be upside down. But you can make it left-handed. And also, I've seen people talk about how if you put it into this orientation, you can use it on a spinning rod. So you could put the reel on top, cast, flip it over, and reel like that. Can't see why anyone would possibly want to do that, but it's an option. So, like, yeah, these reels are awesome. These will last a lifetime if you take care of them. Something I grew up on one of these years ago, and I'm happy to have another one. I definitely will be using it. That was pretty simple. So anyway, we'll end the video there. So thanks for watching. Like I said again, Century Citation Johnson Model 100B, made in the USA, probably late 60s, 70s, I guess. Fantastic reels. If you ever, lots of them out there. They made these for years. They made tons of them. They're easy to find. They're a great reel. Highly recommend them. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.